Hey everyone, I'm Red Team Beaver, and welcome back to day 22 of the Advent of Cyber 3 by TryHackMe. This challenge is very interesting, and you'll get to see some AoC stuff, right? We'll decode stuff, basically, and some of it could be decryption, but not really. So let's dive right into it. So the first step about this old theory is about CyberChef. Now, CyberChef is a tool that I've been using in the past videos as well, and if you are new to this series, you may have noticed that I always have CyberChef in my in my bookmark toolbars. I really like CyberChef. It's such a strong decoding tool and decryption tool if you have the key as well. So basically, what is CyberChef? Well, CyberChef, if we go visit it a little bit, CyberChef is all about giving you options to input something and then get the nice output with the very easy to use format of quote unquote a recipe. So for example, if there is a input of Christmas 2021 exclamation mark, which is probably a password used in many companies right now, well, we could encode it to base64 by simply dragging and dropping the base64 thing. Why is it not working? All right, so sorry for that. I had to reboot my browser for some reason. It wouldn't work. So we were doing the example of Christmas 2021 exclamation mark. And as you can see, it basically generated a base64 encoded string that we could then, for example, if we were to use this as an input and remove this, well, we could decode it, right? And there's even a magic little wand that will find it for us. And there we go. We got it. Oh, I did not get my exclamation mark. I'm not sure why, but yeah. So that's how it works basically. And yeah, we'll see that we'll actually get to use it in a bit. So let's go back all the way down. And now, oh, well, they give us an example string. So let's grab the example string and let's input it here. And now, as again, we can switch it, and this time they have the exclamation mark. Maybe I didn't copy it well enough. I'm not sure. So yeah, so that's how it works basically. And you can also like change it to xdump if you need that, etc. Like you can do everything. Like any kind of encoding that you can think about, you can do it here. So let's skip this theory about base64. If you're interested, you should read it. But let's talk about XOR. So XOR is exclusive OR. What does it mean? Well, basically, if you look at this little table, well, you'll see that XOR actually works like this. So if you have the same bit twice, so in A and B, so 0 and 0, the output of XOR will be 0. However, if it's different, it's going to be 1. So why is this useful? Well, XOR can be used to test for parity in RAID systems. So the RAID parity calculator will actually be using XOR. So yeah, XOR can be used in RAID parity systems. And I am not familiar, like I'm not a pro with storage systems, but I know that is one way to get backups to work. And if you have a disk that crashes, you can get the information back because XOR tells you. So like, let's pretend that B in this case crashes. Well, if B crashes and we don't have access to this information, and I will hide it on screen right now, well, we can still know what was inside of it, right? So if A is 0 and the output of the XOR operation was 0, well, we know that A and B were the same, right? So it has to be 0, right? That's how it works very briefly, right? So return 0 when two values are the same. And you can also expand this to multiple different disks, right? You can have A, B, and C, for example, and still make a XOR operation against them. All right, so let's keep going. So let's talk about OLE. So OLE, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. I sound like a very bad character in a cartoon, Ole. But basically, OLE are mini file systems similar to zip archives, and that's how Microsoft Office works, basically. And there's tools such as OLE dump that you can view whatever is inside an OLE file, and doing so can actually reveal a lot of information. Now, inside of this information, we see that there is like the stream. So the stream number that we'll need to analyze will be stream 8 and -d for the default dump. So that's going to be useful for the practical part. And also let's remember, all of us, that we need to decode from base64, and then that XOR, the XOR key is 35, right? And don't care too much about XOR keys now. If you're interested, go look into it, but that's a bit too advanced to just talk about it in this video right now. So let's just dive straight into the practical part and just answer some questions, right? So as always, make sure that the machine is turned on, and in my case, as always, I will go up, I will show split view, but I will view in full screen, and I will then shut this down. So here I am in a Windows machine this time around. So let's scroll all the way back down to the questions and answer some questions. So what is the username, email address of Greenwich Enterprises from the decoded script? So we need to decode the scripts, right? So if we look inside here, we see that there's a Santa Claus naughty list right here at .doc. And then there's tools, and inside the tools we have OLE. So let's open our command prompt into here, and let's do there. And we see that we have oledump.py here. So that's the tool we're going to need to use. So let's use Python, and let's do Python-v because I'm curious. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to do capital V. And now we see that we're using Python 2.7, which is okay. So let's clear this and let's do Python oledump.py. And then let's give it the path to our file, right? So the path to our file is this, right? So let's give it the path and then autocomplete it, right? So doing so will actually show us the different, like, as we said, it's like an archive kind of. So it's basically showing us the different content held in the archive, and we know that the first stream that we need to work with is 8, or the F. So let's do -s for the stream S, and then -d to dump the data, right? So if we were to do this, we see a big string, right? So let's grab the base64 string right here. So now that we have the string, go to CyberChef and let's paste it in here, right? So we see that this is a lot of noise, and this time CyberChef does not allow us to autocomplete. So let's see why. And that's because the data that we get out of our base64 decode doesn't mean anything, right? It's just gibberish. Why is that? Well, remember that there's a key for XOR, right? So we need to XOR back the thing. So let's do XOR, and let's give the key of 35, and this time don't forget to switch the key from X to decimal. Now we see again that this is a string that doesn't mean anything, but this time CyberChef shows us that, oh, this is base64. So let's click here, and so we have 3 different like ingredients in our recipe. So it's from base64 XOR base64, boom. So we see that there's a RAT, so a remote access Trojan, and the username that we get is an email address, and that's our first question. So what is the username, email address of Greenwich Enterprise from the decoded script? And that's greenwichenterprise2021@gmail.com. I wonder if this works. What is the email mailbox password you found? So let's go back to our decoded string, and we see that the password is Santa is coming to town. Great. See, this is going so well. What's the subject of the email? Well, if we scroll down a little bit, we'll see that message.subject is Christmas wish list. So let's just look at message. So message is a new object, net mail message. So from this object, they must have attributes that we need to set, and one of the attributes will be subject. And in this case, subject is Christmas wish list. So what port is the script using to exfiltrate data from the North Pole? Good, that's a nice question. So let's look at what is happening. So for each file in files, and files is actually the user profile, pictures, and Grinch 2021, right? So this is inside our machine right now, and we'll get back to that later on. So basically, for every file that is inside this directory, it's gonna send it as an attachment for the file full name, right? So the attachment is gonna create a new object of mail attachment, and the argument is gonna be the file.fullname that we set right here, right? So for each file inside of this is what is gonna happen, and then the message is the attachment, sorry, is gonna be added to the message. Then once every single file was attached to the email, it's gonna send the message, right? So let's look at $SMTP, and that's where like our port will be, right? So let's look at the variable SMTP, and we see that SMTP creates a SMTP server on port 587. So let's grab 587 because this is the port it's gonna connect to whenever it sends its message. So it's gonna be 587, right? Did that make sense? If it didn't, watch it more slowly, and I'll go over it once more just real quick. So we have a files variable here that's gonna grab whatever is inside this directory, and for every file inside of this directory, we're gonna attach them to the email by using their full name, right? And then once we have their full name, we add the attachment to the message variable. Once we have done this loop, we're gonna send the message using the SMTP variable .send, and this SMTP variable is about the SMTP server on port 587. Good? All right. What is the flag hidden found in the document that Grinch Enterprises left behind? So now it tells us that we need to look at stream numbers again, and basically this is a guesswork, right? And I hate guessworks in CTFs. So basically we could try them one by one, but we can also do it in a logical manner. So we used 8, right? So F. So maybe it could be inside of 9 because this is O. So let's look at 9. Oops, where is my this? So let's look at 9. And now we don't see that it doesn't seem to be like that because it tells us that the answer will be in the caption. Now I'm not sure what the caption means in this case, but basically we could do them like one by one. So 1, 2, 3, but however 1 to 3 is like metadata, I think. This doesn't seem to be right. Full data will just be a bunch of noise. So let's start with 6, right? So let's start with 6. Now it's nothing too interesting. So now let's go with 7. And we got it right here. So somebody who is an expert with OLE file systems, basically OLE archives, quote unquote, could probably find it much faster than I did, or somebody just more familiar with the Microsoft environment could probably find it more easily because they're like, oh yeah, caption, that's obviously inside the VBF frame, the VB frame, but I didn't know that. So, and if you didn't know that either, it's fine. Just try it one by one. That's what I did first, and at the end I got it. So now there's still a second flag somewhere. Can you find it on the machine? All right, so now let's be hackers and let's be curious. So we know that the Grinch wants to extract whatever is happening inside of pictures, right? So let's go inside pictures, right? Shall we? So let's go to pictures, and we see that Grinch 2021 is right here. So this is what it's going to extract, and we see that there's a flag inside. So if we look at the flag, we see that Santa Claus is real. So I cannot copy it, so that's going to be a pain. So let's do San again. Santa C1AU. Is there a $sign at some point? Yeah, $sign. $sign is, I hope this is a capital I, REAL, right? Yes, right. Great. So just like that, guys, we have completed day 22 of the Advanced Cyber 3, and let's go straight to the outro. Thank you guys so much for watching day 22 of the Advent of Cyber 3 by TryHackMe. This challenge was very fun. I like it a lot. I'm not a fan whenever it asks us to guess stuff, but like we didn't have to guess too long because the answer was right in front of us and we just had to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's really not that bad and I don't mind it too much. So hopefully you learned something. I sure did. And if you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe. It does help me a lot and it's a great Christmas gift. And if you have any questions for me, ask them in the comments below. I reply to every comment basically because I don't get many. So thank you guys so much for watching and see you tomorrow for day 23 of Cyber 3 by TryHackMe. Bye bye.